Welcome to Empower Hour. Let's get growing. Good morning. So good to be here today. I'm coming to you from Cold Spring, New York. I've been here for 2 weeks and have absolutely fell in love. Good morning, Nance. So what I'm going to talk to you about today, it's not for everybody. This is for the entrepreneurs and business owners and business leaders who want to build a business in a way that feels good. And actually, one of the things I love about Instagram, sometimes it's almost like pulling a tarot card. Good morning, Andy. Because these amazing messages and quotes come up in my feed. And the message that came up in my feed today is any activity done with love and presence is a spiritual practice. And this just blew my mind, because if you know anything about me, you know that when I was able to merge my spiritual practice with my business work ethic, I became whole. I became free. I live in a place of peace and joy, and I'm building and have built and continue to build a business that supports the life of my dreams. And that's what we're here to talk about today. It's the energy of sales, and it's the energy of everything that we do. So today we're talking mostly about closing, but I'm going to take you a little deeper into the sales flow process that David Vogel went through with us last month. Now, closing isn't about pressure, persuasion, definitely not chasing. It's about clarity, alignment, and certainty. The worst thing in the world you could ever do is build a business through forcing, because then you spend your entire career in that business forcing and pushing and chasing and forcing and pushing and chasing. And no wonder you hate selling. I mean, come on. What is that? We don't want to live that way. It all begins with your belief. And so even though we're going to go through the whole sales process today, a lot of this work needs to be done internally. Taking a look at your product, a look at your service, understanding the greater good that it serves, and connecting yourself to that deeply, and truly knowing that you can transform in a small way or a big way the life, the business of the person that you are speaking with. I remember when I first got my real estate license 30 years ago. And actually, it wasn't when I first got my real estate license, because when I first got my license, I had a little catering company. And so I was very part-time. I was working with a lot of buyers, so on and so forth. And then I went full-time in real estate. And the minute I went full-time in real estate, I decided that I was going to become the listing queen. And I started calling all the for sale by owners and expired listings out there. And I started listing them like this. And the experienced agents who were not calling for sale by owners and expired listings were like, what the hell are you doing? How are you doing that? Now, I really didn't know or have a formula back then, but now when I can look back at to how I was able to accomplish that, it really was because I had such a strong belief. I knew that even though I wasn't super experienced, that nobody was going to do a better job in getting those households than me. No one. And I knew it. I believed it in my heart and soul. And so that's where conscious sales begins. It begins with your belief. And if you don't have that kind of belief, then I suggest that you take the time to figure out your product, your your service, and your offerings until you have that kind of belief. Because once you do, then you are no longer selling. You are aligning. And we're going to get into that process right now. And it's all about guiding somebody to a decision that serves their growth, their purpose, their desires. And so many of us enter the sales process worried about our desired outcome, the commission, the sale, the money, the profit, the new client, whatever. We're so focused on what we want that we lose that spiritual practice of love and presence in everything that we do. I love that message that came through this morning. So today I'm going to give you a taste of one of the most transformational tools inside my Beyond Limits program, the business of becoming. And again, it's not for everybody. It's for those that want to build a business that feels good as you're building it. That's fun and light and doesn't feel heavy and doesn't feel like, oh my God, I got to do this. No, we don't want any of that. So by the end of this quick session today, you'll have a map to guide sales conversations with that confidence, clarity, and certainty that is so important. People do not buy because of the features or not even the results. It truly is in your belief and being able to transfer that belief. I talk about something, the placebo effect in sales. So when you are able to transfer your belief over to the person that you are speaking to, your potential client, they're going to get a better result because of that. They're going to start doing the work on their end. I mean, let's face it, most of our products and our services, if the person on the other end is not doing their part, are not going to be as effective or as impactful. And so transferring this belief is super important. The subconscious also makes the decision first, and then logic follows. So yeah, there needs to be some logic behind what you're selling. And it needs to be aligned with their needs and their desires. So one of the things we're going to learn today is how to be that bridge, right? This is the potential client, their needs, their desired outcomes, the problems they want to overcome. And then you are the bridge to help them get to the other side, to their desired results and their desired outcomes. But this all begins with your belief, but also your energy. What are you doing to manage your energy? Because in sales, in everything we do, it's not what we say. It's who we show up as when we say it. And so I spend an hour every single morning, sometimes an hour and a half, and sometimes 20 minutes on certain days. Today was not a long preparation day. I was tired. I worked a long week. I gave myself a little bit of a break, but I still did a half an hour of meditation and my journaling and other things. But I manage my energy every single morning. But not only that, before I'm getting on a call with a potential client, before I'm getting on a call with an existing client, I take my time, set my intention, and think about the results that I want to get out of this. And for me, that is always to help the person that I am talking to get their desired results. So as long as you're starting with managing your energy and you are deeply rooted in your belief, this process gets easy. And now I have some clients on here who are going to come on a little later, and It's not super, super easy all the time for them, but it's getting there. But now they can begin to recognize that if they haven't managed their energy, it feels thick and sluggish and, prospecting and growing and building your business. But when you do manage your energy, it begins to feel light and fun. Now, one of the things for me is I've been through a lot in my life. And so I approach business all the time as if I have no choice. But guess what? I really don't. But that's not true, right? Because we can all make whatever choices we want. I approach my goals in that with that energy of the I do not have any choice but to succeed here. But I also approach my clients' goals in the same exact way. I am not accepting failure for any of my clients. And that energy, that belief transfers over to them. And they are able to get better results because of it. So I want to walk you through the 8 stages. Jose, if you can go to the next slide. So the first most important thing, I don't even think you can see the slides, but that's okay. You can actually just remove the slide for now, Jose, because you can't really see it. So the first most important thing is to build a powerful connection. Everybody talks about building rapport, and most people will teach you to build rapport by finding out what you have in common. And oh, you went to UCLA, I went to UCLA too, and blah blah blah. And so yeah, maybe that will build some sort of connection, but it's not going to give you this kind of deep connection, understanding their needs, their desires in a way that you're going to help them succeed in all the areas that they want to succeed in. We want to build a powerful, deep connection. And we want to set the tone for honesty and curiosity. We want to be able to have these potential clients to open up to us. And not only that, we're going to help them discover things that they really weren't even aware of. So much of our desires are in our subconscious. We're all kind of operating on programming, and we don't really know the root to why we want the results that we want. And so when we can help them get there, they're gonna get better results. So the second stage is to do a deep discovery. So that powerful connection, let me just go back for a second. I teach things like having a power statement, not small talk, not any of that. Immediately get them grounded to why they should be listening to you in this moment, this 10 minutes, this half hour you have scheduled. Immediately let them know what's in it for them. Immediately, not, oh, so nice to see you, so glad we met. I'm not saying don't be nice, but get right to the point. Exactly why they should be listening to you right now. Okay, that starts to build that powerful connection. And then we're going to do a deep discovery. We're going to ask layered questions to uncover their real desires, and also how it's going to impact their business and how it's going to impact their life. And so you're going to ask the questions, and you're not going to just stay at the surface level. So tell me, what are the goals that you're looking to achieve this year? Wow, that's amazing. Fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Wow, amazing. And how will that impact your life when you achieve those goals? How is it going to impact your business? How does it impact your life and your business if you don't achieve those goals? Fantastic, right? And then you just want to go deep and really make sure that you understand everything that is important to them. And then you want to reflect and mirror back exactly what they've said to you using the powerful terms. If they said things like freedom or wealth, whatever they've used, you want to reflect that back and get them to understand and agree. And this is also throughout this process, you can help begin to lower their resistance. And guys, we're not trying to Jedi mind trick people into buying our product. We want to make sure we're in alignment, that our product can actually get them where they want to go. And so, but one of the things we want to do is lower their resistance. So when you're making the transition from the powerful connection to the deep discovery, you're going to say things like, so after the powerful connection, where you're just making sure they understand why you're here and how you're going to be able to help them achieve their goals. And then you're going to say something like, okay, so first I would like to ask you a few questions and get to understand your desired results, your outcomes, any problems you've been having. Does that sound okay? Sound good? And have them say yes. The more that they're saying yes in the process, the more their resistance is lowering. And so you do your deep discovery, asking those layered questions, then you go back and reflect and mirror, and then you're going to present. But first you're going to, say, based on what I'm hearing, you're looking to blank, blank, blank. And because that's going to impact you in this way and that way. So I have some amazing ideas that I think are going to help you to achieve that. Or I have some amazing products, or I have, whatever it is that's going to help you achieve those results. I would love to present those to you. Would that be okay? Is that something you're interested in? Is this something you'd like some support with? Getting them to say yes. Then you're going to present only to what matters to them. And this I learned very quickly in real estate. I learned about disc profiling. Now I am a D, all right? I am a D all day long. I have adapted some I in my personality. If you don't know anything about disc profiling, D is a very dominant, driven. We don't want to hear details. We want to hear what you're going to do for us and how much it's going to cost and how long it's going to take. That's it. So I learned through observing my own self with salespeople. If you started presenting all kinds of stuff to me and getting into process and details, you lost me. Nope. I just want you to tell me what you're going to do for me, how much it's going to cost, and how long it's going to take. But a lot of this you can get out of this discovery and making sure you're going deep. Is there anything else? Anything else that's important to you right now? Anything else you're looking to achieve? Anything else that you're struggling with? So that when you do present, you are presenting directly to what matters to them. And then once you do your presentation, you're going to do a trial close, a soft close. And then we're later on in Beyond Limits, the Business Becoming, we learn a lot about NLP and magic language, but I'll use a little bit of that today without getting too deep. But you want to use language like based on hearing about the kind of results that I can get and help you achieve your goals. Are you ready to move forward with the next steps? And you're going to now more than likely get some objections for them. Maybe not. If you really did everything perfectly, they're going to say, yeah. But here's the thing. If you get nervous and you start thinking about yourself and you go from your heart back up to your head and you start overthinking, you're going to begin over talking. You keep things simple right here. You do your presentation, you do your soft trial close based on what you've heard today. Clearly, you can see how I can help you get those desired results. I can help you solve those problems. Is there anything preventing you from moving forward today? And then stop talking. One of the biggest mistakes I see everybody see, they start justifying and la 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 la. Shh. We need them to be able to process and to be able to think. So they're going to probably at this point give some objections. Well, yeah, I'm not ready to make that kind of investment yet. I am, I need to speak to my business partner. I need to run it past my wife. I am not sure that would work for us in this market, so on and so forth. So as they give you an objection, one of the other biggest mistakes that I see all the time is that we immediately want to handle that objection. and we make an assumption like that objection is the only objection. But the even worse mistake that we make is assuming that it's actually the objection. And here's the thing, most of the time, your potential client does not even know what the objection is. They don't know what is blocking them. They could have their own money blocks, their own, like there's a million things that could be causing their resistance. So this is where you become almost like a coach, because you know their desired outcome, their desired results, right? And you know that your product or your service or whatever you're doing for them can help them get them there, right? We have to have that belief. So now your job is to lead them to their own desired outcome and result. So powerful. Jose, get Nancy and Andy backstage because I'm going to want them soon. So we're going to take those objections and we're going to isolate them. So as they give you an objection, you're going to say, completely understand, makes sense. You want to mirror, okay? You don't want to get defensive, start forcing and pushing them to think the way that you want them to think. You want to mirror. I completely understand. That makes a lot of sense. This is a huge investment. Is there anything else besides price? Is there anything else preventing you from moving forward today to get that desired outcome? Great. Is there anything else? Oh, yes, that makes sense. I completely understand. What else? Is there anything else holding you back? Go deep and don't be afraid, because no matter what, you guys, even if they don't end up using your product and your service at this point, more than likely you're going to make such a difference in them because you're helping them to see their own blocks, what is preventing them from not moving forward, what is preventing them and holding them back. And so you're going to isolate those objections, and then you're going to handle those objections. And you're not going to handle them in a forceful, pushing way. You're going to get curious again. So just curious. If investing $5,000 is going to bring you $100,000 in return on investment, what is it truly that is holding you back, right? Get curious. Don't say, well, if you invest $5,000, you're going to get $100,000 in return and blah, 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 blah. You really want to be asking powerful questions more than telling them, forcing them, and shoving your product down their throat. You're going to, handle your objections in the ways that you need to and give them the information that's going to help them get through that. And you handle them one by one, and then you soft trial close again. And you also, I talked about mirroring and pacing. So the mirroring is basically, when they give you the objection, you're saying that makes sense. I completely understand. It's a huge investment. I remember the first time I made that investment, I was freaked out, completely scared. So I completely get it. However, you're a pretty smart business person. So I know that you already know that there is an investment for you to be made for you to get to the next level. It's just a matter of figuring out what the right investment for you is. Wouldn't you agree? Getting them to say yes again. Right? So there's lots of language that we're not going to get deep into that, again, is helping them to lower their resistance. So it is your job to be able to master these language models as much as you can, because you're helping to lower their resistance to their own desired outcomes, right? Not so you get the sale, so you get the commission, so you get this. The more focused you are on leading them to their desired results and desired outcomes, the more business you're going to get and grow. And also, this is where you begin to create raving lunatic fans who are going to run around and tell everybody in the world, if you're not using Andy Pinto for direct marketing, you're not going to have as good of an experience. If you're not using Nancy Stinjone, and if you're not using gifting in your business, you're not going to have anywhere near as good as an experience. That's the results that you're going to get when you take this more consultative approach. So actually, let's bring Nancy and Andy up now, because I want to be able to bring home some of these for you. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Morning.
How are you guys?
Morning.
Doing well.
So you guys have been going through this process. So tell us about your experiences. Tell us where it's easy. Tell us where it's hard. Tell us where you can feel the difference. Tell us about the energetics behind it. Tell us about the belief in your product. Tell us whatever matters to you and what has made a difference for you.
Ladies first.
Thank you, Andy. So this has made a difference for me. And with my coaching, it's made me be aligned with what I do in the process of sharing. And there were so many aspects that I had a different version of before I started coaching with you, Jen. And I just love the process, how, from building your connections to getting curious to reflecting and mirroring back. And I struggle with some of the processes, but I have a big question today.
Okay.
I find myself sounding scripted when I try to use the NLP phrasing. I had to look that up. Even when I truly want my words to land from my heart, because as you know, I want to turn them around to feel a natural extension and connection with me, especially since my gifting business is in emotion and trust and intention. So I guess that's my question.
So that's funny because Andy and I left on this note yesterday. Here's the thing about scripts. You want to know what you're supposed to say. You want to know it by heart. You want to know how to handle your objections. You want to think of all the objections you can get, and you want to know the responses by heart. However, you don't want to repeat them by heart. You want to repeat them from the heart, right? So you have to start with actually memorizing, right? And scripts is this dirty word. But the more you know how to respond, the more you know exactly what to say, the more you're going to be able to be a better listener, to really understand what's going on with them, to be able to, break down their resistance and their walls. If you're too busy thinking about, oh my God, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to answer that, I don't know how to respond to that, you're in your head again and not in your heart, right? Remember, any activity done with love and practice, love and presence is a spiritual practice. That's the quote I opened up with. And I just love this. This is going to be like my new business quote for life. So you want to be in a place of love and presence. How can you be in a place of love and presence if you're thinking about what you got to say? So Nancy, you need to practice. 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 Now, some of that can be live practice, like getting on as many calls as possible, but then we get afraid, like, oh my God, then I'm never going to get that client back again. I'm never going to be able to do this if I'm not perfect. No, everybody's been, new or growing their skills and whatnot. And you could always go back to people at a later date. But you can find accountability partners. You can train ChatGPT to role play with you, to criticize your efforts. You can record yourself. You can just read them out loud over and over and over again. You should start writing down all the objections that you are getting, so that you can this I get this one all the time. So you want to make sure you know how to respond to it. I mean, both of you guys probably have at least 10 objections that are the main. Like Andy was getting all week, well, send me the information and I'll take a look at it. Right now, you guys, you have to start to realize if you're getting the same thing over and over and over, it's because you haven't really connected with them on that deeper level, understand their needs, and build the bridge through your product and your service of how to get them where they want to go. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I would say, we're in the same path. I mean, for me, my biggest Achilles heel in the beginning was conversations. Before I started working with you, I would go into these conversations all geared up to talk about myself and my business and what I could do and the pricing and this and that. And I would have these conversations and I would just be spewing all these different facts and everything about my business without even asking them about theirs, understanding their goals, understanding their needs. And it led to a lot of people, they shake their heads, all right, great meeting you, and they'd go off. And there wasn't any connection. There wasn't, I didn't understand anything, really about their business. I just wanted to get the word out that, hey, I could do something for you. It'll be better. It'll be cheaper. And I found that the conversations I were having was very small, very, that they weren't really fruitful at all until I really started understanding. And what would happen is I would, they would, I really wouldn't understand objections or wouldn't understand what businesses were going through in order to be able to understand and handle objections, or even put some, some of those, batting down some objections and some of what I had to say. But the big thing for me was listening. I had to have the curiosity of talking to them, understanding who they were, understanding their business, understanding their goals. And through a lot of the conversations of asking questions and focusing the conversation on them, I had a better understanding of learning about their goals, even getting some of those objections out up front, and able to then position my company and how I could better help them. And each company and each business is unique. And instead of having this one spray and pray, mentality with conversations, it turned it into more of really understanding them, their unique businesses, who they were, etc. And even if the conversation didn't end on let's meet up again or whatever, when I saw them again in an event or I talked to them again, I knew a little bit more about them. Oh, so how was your trip, or how was this? It became a little more personal. And how is business been? I know you want to do X, Y, or Z. It formed a stronger connection, a former bond. At least the person's like, hey, at least this person's listening to me. He's not just looking to sell me something. He's, genuinely trying to help me. And, there's been businesses I'm like, hey, maybe it's not a great fit right now, but try this, this, and this. And they'd walk away understanding that, hey, maybe, this guy just gave me some advice. I could do these few things, that'll help my business. Maybe, it's never a no, it's usually a not now. So maybe with them today doesn't work. It's not now, but 6 months down the line, they may need something. They may be like, oh man, let me give Andy a call.
We're building a pipeline.
Yep.
Everything in life is timing. And so we can't force people into the right timing. We can lower their resistance. We can help them gain clarity on what they're looking to do. And, and that there is investments typically to be made to be able to grow. Absolutely. And also, I think the goal is to have a clear no or a hell yes, right? And the clear no does not mean never. It means not right now. The door is open, but now you're not chasing them with annoying emails and you're not doing all those things. And the other thing is, you both are really great human beings, right? People like you. And you were both having the cycle of meeting lots of people, having great conversations, and even feeling like when you walked away, oh, that went so well. It's because you're very likable, right? So people are going to kind of like, yes, 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 yes. Oh, that sounds great. Oh, I love everything about that. But you don't know what their why is. You haven't connected to really how you can help them get the results that they want, because you don't even know the results that they want. But they nice guy or nice girl you, nice woman you, all around. And then you're in that position where now they're ghosting you and you're chasing them and you're fine, right? Yep. And so even as you are mastering this process, which does take effort and practice and work, you're saving yourself so much time, money, and energy, because you are getting a clear no instead of like a fake yes.
Yep.
I mean, come on, how many fake yeses have you guys got? I mean, those are worse than anything else because you get all excited, and then the other thing is what happens is you get so excited that you have the first objection and you can handle it but you didn't get all their other objections. And Andy, this one you were really guilty of in the beginning. And then you were going and spending a lot of time putting together and blah, 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 and then presenting that. And then you didn't really know their true objection. Sometimes, like I said earlier, they don't even know their true objection. And so this is your job to ask the powerful questions to help them uncover what is holding me back. Why am I not making that investment? Why am I, right? And like I said, everybody has their own programming. They have their own money blocks, all kinds of things. And so, we get better and better in this process. You start to build up a whole scenario of stories that are true and relatable about your clients or about your own experiences that are similar to the situation, right? Has there ever been a time where you thought you wanted to do something and you were so excited about it and then you didn't pull the trigger and then you regretted it? Well, this time it's just like that time. And let me tell you why. And then you tell them a story about a client or about your own situation where you didn't, take that risk or take that opportunity. There's so many things that you can build upon this simple process with that will become where you are completely magnetic. And you're literally almost starting with, this probably isn't for you. And then, so you're not even selling, you're just presenting, you're understanding their products and they're this and they're that. And then they're coming to you, they're chasing you. That's what happens when you really begin to master this process. And so I don't want to make it sound also like it's just a simple 8-step process. In each step here, there are nuances that you're going to want to master. That powerful connection. What do I open with that's going to get them to not be multitasking, not be doing a million other things, but they're listening, right? And what are the questions that are going to help me to lower their resistance and help them to become emotionally connected to the outcomes that they desire, right? And then the reflecting and the mirroring, and then the pacing and the leading, right? So the pacing was, I completely understand that's a huge investment. However, I'm sure that you realize, because you're a very acute business person, that there is an investment to be made for you to get to the next level. And I remember that feeling, and I remember being afraid to do that myself. But when I was at this, I did this, and this is what happened. Or I had a client who was at the same exact place, and they did this, and this is what happened. Or they didn't do this, and this is what happened. And then they came back to me, and then this is what happened, right? So there's nuances for every level. The trial closes. There's, so much magic language. Nancy, we haven't gotten into the NLP so much yet and the exactly what to say. Andy, we've sort of touched upon it, and you have already found how that is beneficial. Nancy, you're starting to learn how getting them to agree with you throughout the process. Does that sound good? Would that be okay? Is that something you'd like some support with? These are the powerful things. They're nuances and they are skills that you need to learn, but it all begins with the belief. And before that, the energy. You guys, it's not so much what you're saying, it's who you're showing up as you're saying. And the two of you have definitely mastered that part. You've mastered the understanding of that part. It takes time. Listen, I woke up this morning like, why the am I doing Empower Hour today? It's Friday. I have right. And then I remembered my mission, my vision. I want to help as many business owners and entrepreneurs to self-actualize not only themselves, but their business, or they're building a business that supports the life of their dream. That's my mission. And this is one of the best ways to do that. guys, I don't have a million people on here watching. I don't have like this and then that. I'm doing this because it makes me a better coach, because I'm speaking to my reach, not my audience. And I know for a fact that I am impacting lives. I mean, I cried probably 6 times this week with clients because of them telling me the results that they're getting, or, or what's happening, and the changes that they're seeing. And it's incredible. And so I had to align my energy with my mission. And, that took a little bit of ritual and routine, and I set my intentions. I did my breathing. I did all the things so that I could show up powerfully. But I had a million of those things going on in my head too, So even though I have been practicing this for a lot longer, it still is a process. But the results are just so much more beautiful. I mean, I can tell you the difference between when I started approaching sales through energetics as opposed to forcing and pushing, that I don't have any more asshole clients. Right? And you know what the thing is about that? Nobody is an asshole until you show up and label them one. And it's typically not them, it's you, because you're trying to force and you're trying to push, and then you're getting annoyed that they're not listening and they're not doing what you're saying. But you have no idea what they truly want or who they truly are. And so it feels heavy and it feels gross. And then, and yes, you can be successful building a business through force. But that's why I launched the business that I've launched, because I deal with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. I've been in business leadership for a long time. And all of them say they got into business because they love what they do and they love the freedom and blah, blah, blah. And now they have no freedom. They hate everybody. They hate their clients. They hate their employees, right? Because they're not using this process. And this process can go to every part of your business. Yes, Nance?
So I just feel like I had an aha moment. So basically what you're saying is our first step before we even step into these 8 steps is to align with ourselves, and then to align with our potential client before we even work with them, let's say,
with your mission, right? Like your mission is to be able to help businesses grow in a way that feels good through gifting, in a way that is, spreading that gratitude, loyalty, all of those things. That's your mission. You want to be able to take, what can be a frustrating process. So you want to connect. This is the reason I'm getting on this call today. I'm not getting on this call today because I need the sale. Whether you need the sale or not is irrelevant. That's not why you're getting on the call. Because if that's why you're getting on the call, that's the energy that you are transferring to this potential client. And they're literally now like, yeah, and you know what? Sometimes somebody's going to throw you a bone because you are a nice guy and you are a nice lady. But they're not going to become that raving lunatic fan that goes around and tells everybody, if you're not using Nancy, if you're not using Andy, you're crazy, right? So then you're just going to constantly, be prospecting, and having many new clients, but not building that base of people who are loyal, raving, lunatic fans. So it's not, we got to stop being transactional. And then we just kind of like, disconnect when they say no. No, they're in your pipeline. They now need to be nurtured and loved, right? You're planting the seed and it's like, oh, it didn't sprout in 2 hours, I'm out. No, that is not how you grow a garden. That's not how you build a business. Not a business that feels good. Again, yes, you can be successful through force, through pushing. But you guys, how does that feel when you were doing that? How did it feel?
Salesy.
Yeah.
Ew, right? And just
it was a big ick.
The phone weighs like 10 million pounds, and like every email is like, no. So yeah, that's it. This is just a little taste of the energetic of sales. It's a lot. I've been working with these guys like almost 6 months, and they're getting into that place of where it's becoming easy, but it takes practice. It takes building all of those skills. I've been studying NLP for 3 years. I still feel like I don't know a freaking thing. It's intense. It's a lot. But I'm committed to it because I know that I want to be able to lead people to get the results that they want. I know that they have money blocks and they have resistance and they have all kinds of things that are standing in the way between what they want and where they are today. Like they have this big gap between where they're at and where they want to go, and they have all this resistance that's holding them back from getting there. And so I'm committed to learning these skills, not so that I can make $1 million, so that I can fulfill my mission. And Andy, you can fulfill your mission, right, of being able to help as many businesses as possible to grow at a high level. And Nancy, you to fulfill your mission. Hold on, I got to plug in my computer. That's it. I mean, it really is that simple.
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, something you said before, when Nancy said before, and what I struggle with, and we touched on it, is when it is a lot of practicing, and you have to know what to say without thinking about it. Because I find, like, I'll go into a conversation and then be like, oh, they said this. All right, so what do I have to say? What do I have to say? And then it starts becoming a script, and then you get caught up, and then it's like, the verbal vomit's coming out. It has to become so, like, if someone talks to me about cooking, I could, no matter what they say, I could answer that.
Exactly.
Once I am in a sales conversation, and once I start thinking, all right, what do I have to say now? I know I'm dead.
But here's the thing.
You can't think about it.
You do know. You both know. But you're in your head. You're not in your heart. When you're talking about the cooking, you're in your heart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nancy, you're obsessed with gifting. So you are in your heart a lot of the times, but you then jump up to your head, right? And Nancy and Andy, you too. I mean, you're one of the most talented marketing people, at least in Westchester County, if not in New York State, with the most experience, with the most results, with all of that. But yet you go from your heart to your head.
Yeah.
But you're forgetting that you're here to help lead them to where they want to go. And you're entering the process because you want to get to where you want to go. And it's not because you're bad people. I mean, that's why we're in business, is to grow our business, right? But that quote from the beginning, when you're leading with love and presence, oh my God. I mean, how does that feel to turn your business into a spiritual practice as opposed to this, like, oh my God, I got to make these calls? Like, that's a big difference. That's a big difference. And that's the energy that we want to come from.
And I struggle with, in my product-based business, gifting business, I truly believe, and I tell people, I can actually channel the gift that you want for your recipient. But then once I connect with a business professional, it's like, oh, this isn't about, my coming from my heart, and, you should gift with emotion. For some reason, I turn around and it turns into, okay, so this is a sales meet.
Because you're thinking that a corporate professional wants you to be a professional salesperson.
Exactly, Jen.
Total opposite. Do you know how many professional salespeople they have calling and texting and doing all these things all day long?
And can you apply that to any industry? I mean, let's say an insurance person, you think of an insurance person, they're just going to sell you insurance.
Okay, but listen, if an insurance person gets me on the call, right, and they go in deep discovery, they're going to understand that I had a daughter who had like 5 car accidents in her first year, and I've been paying at first I was paying $1,200 a month for insurance for like 2 years. And then my first daughter had a crazy car accident. I had a crazy car accident. If somebody no insurance person, by the way, I'm not going to name the companies that I'm with. None of them have done that. They would probably have been able to sell me much bigger policies, all kinds of things, if they actually got to understand who I am, instead of just signing me up and moving forward. Yes. And that's not tricking me. Like that would give me, like, I do like now live a little bit in fear. Like if my daughter gets into one more car accident, like we're not going to have insurance. I bet you there's a policy out there that I don't even know about that would ensure that even if she got into another car accident, I'm not going to be canceled, right? That would give me peace of mind, even if it meant I had to go back up to $1,200 a month. Do you get what I'm saying here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, they're missing out on a big sale because they're being order takers, right? And nobody's ever done that process with me in insurance. And I think there's so many ways in everything that we do, if we truly understand who we are dealing with, what's important to them. But then the other part, Nance, we talked about the being in the connector. And now, Andy, even though you've only been in Mamaroneck for a little while, you're a connector now, and Nancy's a connector. And it's like, so even if you right now, this isn't the right fit, but you know that they're trying to get their kid into some elite daycare, and you actually know the owner of that daycare, and you can make that connection, right? You're helping them to get this. That's building your pipeline now. That's building the loyalty, and that's going to happen. So maybe it isn't right now, but guess what? Who they hang out with, other business owners. So maybe it's not right then, but when their friend who owns the salon says, "Oh, I want to do some direct marketing, or I want to build my business," they're going to go out of their way to say, "You really need to call Andy Pinto. You really need to call Nancy Stinjone." So we get transactional, and we kind of like cut people off, and we never found out exactly what's important to them and what's happening in their life. And so we spent 45 minutes and then, putting presentations together and this and that, and we presented it, and then it didn't happen, and then we just move on next. So our pipeline is not getting full. And a pipeline does not mean transaction. It means that there's future transactions in that pipeline. And we just get so focused on like, I want this, I want this. And I get it. When I launched my business, I was like upside down $1 million. Never mind. I needed every single sale. And I'm going to be truthful. It's the first time in my life, the past 3 years, that I did not make one single decision out of financial insecurity. Yeah. That's a fact. And I know for a fact that people with lots and lots and lots and lots of money are making decisions out of financial insecurity. I just made a reel talking about the fact that I remember when I had all this money and I didn't want to pay my tax bill. I literally would go through like when I pay that tax bill, I'm going to be broke. When I pay that tax, this is insanity. It's insanity. We're not the only ones dealing with that. It doesn't matter what your bank account looks like. Everybody has their blocks, their resistance, what's holding them back. And so when we approach them like a leader to help them lower that resistance, so maybe it isn't right now, but they're going to remember that feeling. They're going to remember how you made them feel. I forget who did that quote. People will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Thank you guys for being super brave and coming on here today. What, you have something else, Nancy?
I just have one
I'm going to be late for our coaching session.
That's okay. I just have one quick question. As we end this and, the audience is watching it, these steps are amazing. How can they connect with you to
Well, I'm about to tell them.
Okay, good.
I'm about to tell them. So you guys, thank you so much, Jose. If you can pull up my slide. So this was just a little taste of what you get in Beyond Limits, the business of becoming. Again, this is not for everybody. This is for people who want to build a business that nourishes their soul, who want to build a business that supports the life of their dreams. So many people are living their life around their business. We get to do this right from the beginning. So whether you're transitioning out of a career, stepping into entrepreneurship, or, oh, look, it's in there twice, or you launched a business and never really got anywhere, or you're looking to grow massively, this is the program for you. It is the first time, go to the next slide because I don't like this slide. It is the first time that I am offering this for this type of price. these guys that are on here right now paid 5 times basically an investment for what you're going to get into this hybrid group coaching program. Like I said, it's not for everybody. I'm not taking everybody. There's still a big one-on-one aspect in this program that I'm committing to. So it is by application only. We can hop on a call, see if we're a match, because I do want to make sure that I am aligned with everybody that I bring into this program. But I am so excited because I'm going to do like what I've been doing for like 6 people at a time. I can do up to a couple of 100 people and fulfilling my mission of helping as many business owners and entrepreneurs build a business that supports the life of their dreams. And that's my mission, my purpose, my vision, and my belief. And that is the energy that I show up with. And I think these guys will tell you that I put my heart and my soul into it. And that's not going to change just because it's being done on a larger scale. So if you're curious, reach out. Maybe it's for you, maybe it isn't. But whatever you're doing, I hope that you start to put the right energy and start to really deeply connect and understand the needs of the people that you are dealing with. And I think it's going to make a huge difference in your results and how it feels. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Jen.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.